The gambler's mindset is the most common ruiner of poker careers and aspirations. The gambler's mindset occurs in poker when you feel like you need to win for a poker session, a hand, or even a decision to be okay. It's when you're either too attached or too detached from your session to be strategically present. If you're too attached to your session, you're going on the roller coaster of emotion with every hand that you play. As soon as a pot gets big, you become excited or anxious or scared that you'll lose, scared that you won't get paid off, scared that a heart will come on the river. And these emotions influence your decision in ways that make it less strategic or even fully unstrategic in many cases. Similarly, your brain can try to protect you from these emotional states by making you detached. You can end up in some sort of zombie autopiloting mode where you're clicking buttons and disengaging so that you don't have to go through the unpleasant experience of confusion, trying to solve something while stressed. There's nothing more unpleasant to the human mind than having to solve a logical puzzle while stressed, because that short circuits the part of your brain that's curious and exploring and wanting to problem solve is not in any way compatible with the part of your brain that's trying to protect you and your resources. Poker is a game that's played with money, which is interpreted by the lizard brain as resource tokens for survival or bits of woolly mammoth to eat, and it's also played with pride and ego, which are interpreted as your place in the hierarchy in the human pack, your chances of surviving and or procreating based on that place in the hierarchy and how accepted you are. So when you're battling for resources and ego all the time, you're naturally put into a place where winning feels mandatory in the short term. And that's an untenable place for a poker player. And today we're going to talk about how to actually do something about this. We mentioned the gambler's mindset in a previous video, and many of you said that this was the thing you wanted me to cover in detail. So instead of just rambling on about what it is and why it happens, I could share many of my own anecdotes from students about this affliction. But I want to be pragmatic today as well. So the plan is that I'm going to give you a 3-week drastic resolution for the gambler's mindset, something that will greatly increase your chances of reducing its effect on your poker life. It might not cure you instantly, but it will hopefully get you over the hump and get the ball rolling, get you on a trajectory where you gradually become more and more in control of your ability to think strategically, execute at the tables, and apply what you've actually been studying. Before I introduce the plan, just a very quick aside. This morning, I released 3 shortish videos, about 9 minutes long each, on a very cool poker concept, which is being aggressive in passively played spots. So when you've started with a passive line, like you've checked back on the flop, when can you still raise the turn? When can you bet the river big even though you checked back on the turn and somewhat capture range? This counterintuitive aggression is not being found by many poker students at all, and so I wanted to devote a short mini-series to it. That mini-series is watchable fully if you have the Golden Carrot Pass, if you're a Golden Carrot tier, on our Discord. To get that, do use code COMMUNITY at Carrot Corner to get 20% off the Golden Carrot Pass, and you'll find it in the Golden Carrot Lounge section of the Discord. If you're not a Golden Carroteer, you can still watch the first episode of that mini-series on YouTube, on the Discord in the main section. And yeah, I hope that's still useful for you. Let's get into today's topic now, which is a kind of drastic plan that I came up with. I didn't just invent this on the spot. What I've decided to do is combine many of the elements of coaching that I've used in one-to-one sessions for the past 10, 15 years, and the ones that have been the most successful, because, you know, coaching is trial and error, and some things work and some things don't work. This is a 3-week plan. In order to embark on this plan, to try to cure yourself of the gambler's mindset in poker, you need to set aside 3 weeks where you have more time than normal for the game. I'm not going to sit here as a business owner and a dad of a 5-month-old baby and say, you need to do 50 hours a week, because you might have a job, you might have, you know, family to look after, you might have social commitments, you might have other stuff going on, but try to clear as much of that as you can. Try to pick a time in your life over the next month or two where a 3-week period is looking calmer. You don't have any vacations booked, you don't have a stressful thing going on at work, you don't have loads of social engagements, it's not your wife's birthday or something like that. and set aside 3 weeks where you can put in maybe 25 to 50% more poker hours than you normally could. That's what we're looking for here. And this is how we're going to lay it out. First off, you need to fully commit to the plan before you do it. You need to be saying, I'm going to carry this out, because if I don't, then you're going to be like 99% of humans. You're going to be afflicted with this mindset, this debilitating, tilted mindset that, let's face it, lots of us experience all the time. I'm not saying you don't have sessions where you're free from this. We do, but it just comes back, right? Semi-regularly at least. So if you want to be free from this most of the time, or much more of the time than you currently are, you are going to need to commit to this plan, and trust me that it's going to at least have a major effect in moving you closer to this goal. You can repeat this 3-week plan many times. Once you've done it once, you'll be over the hump. You'll be able to do it again. Carrying this out once is a very difficult task. Most people who try to do this fail at some point. The reasons for that will become clear when you see what the plan is. So the plan happens over 3 weeks, and you can take a day off in between weeks, or 2 days off if you feel you need to. It doesn't need to be calendar weeks or anything like that, although it might work better for you if it is. Week number 1 is called the study bunker. You're going to study for a week straight. And we're going to talk about how to do that in a minute. But for the study bunker week, do not play a hand of poker, not one. Not one hand. I mean it. Seriously. This is about keeping study completely separate from practice, from playing poker, from the ups and downs that trigger the gambler's mindset. This is about separating the strategic element of the game from that which causes the emotional flare-ups that lead to the attachment or detachment that ruin poker careers for years. So not one hand. You're going to study for a week instead. And again, you're going to spend up to 50% more time on poker than normally, but in this week it means studying. And you're going to make a list of 5 to 10 nodes. And these should be common nodes that you encounter all the time when you're playing, that you feel confused and lost in, that you wish you had a better strategy for. Write those down. I would say the first time you do this, sticking to like 5 or 6 is probably better than 9 or 10. But you can start to up this in later iterations of the 3-week cycle. What kind of nodes are we talking about? Well, what is a node in the first place? A node is a decision point in the game tree, like I have the chance to barrel the turn after I bet the flop button versus big blind single raise pot. That's a node. A turn barrel opportunity in a 3-bet pot, blind versus blind, is a completely different node. It's not even remotely similar, and so you can't study turn barrel opportunities as a node. That's a collection of nodes that are vaguely related. It is not a node. So to study a node, you have to write down things like flop c-bet, blind versus blind, single raise pot, facing flop c-bet, big blind versus in position, single raise pot, triple barrel opportunity in late position, in position as pre-flop raiser, single raise pot. You get the idea. But when you're doing pre-flop, you can actually include a bit more. You can say what my 3-bet ranges. My 3-bet ranges are a node from different positions, facing different positions, that kind of thing. But post-flop, it's very important. You keep it very narrowly focused and streamlined. How do you study once you've listed those things? Well, you want to rotate them. You want to work through them so that you're not just doing the same thing endlessly. That might get a bit boring. Rotate the first 2 or 3 over the first few days, then rotate the next 2 or 3. To study, what you want to do is have a solver. You want to have access to a solver. You want to have good game trees. You want to have something like Wizard or Pile Solver where you can craft a custom game tree. I would highly recommend not using the preset post-flop sims with multiple sizes in something like Wizard, because the game tree tends to split in ways that make it unrealistic for what you're actually doing. For example, if you have 4 sizes on the turn and you're looking at playing a half pot size on some texture, you then end up in the river with like a tiny part of your range that used that because the solver was using the other sizes with lots of other combos, and it just becomes a complete mess. It no longer resembles what your range would be in that spot, and so it's not worth studying. So simplify the game tree, use node locking, use AI, or use a custom solver with simplified game trees, and figure out what sizes you're going to be applying in these nodes. So for example, if you're playing turn double barrel single raise pot, you're studying that node in position. What are the textures where you're going to play your bigger size, and what is your bigger size? Is it an overbet? What size of overbet is it? Keep it consistent. Learn the ranges and thresholds that go with it. Or is it a smaller bet like B50, B40, B60? What's comfortable to you? What have you looked at a bit before? What would you like to be your game plan? There's a bit of room for maneuver here. You don't have to be completely precise with surgical accuracy when you're picking like a smaller in position turn sizing. Spend that whole week learning how the strategies look for those key nodes that you've outlined, learning your game plan, what sizes you'll be using, and studying where thresholds lie in sims. You can do a bit of trainer work for this too if you want, but when you're looking at thresholds, you're trying to decide, where do my value bets begin? What's the weakest hand I can value bet? Where do my value bets become mandatory? Where do I actually have to value bet because my hand is too good? Are there any mandatory value bets for this node? Where's my checking band? Where does a hand go from being an optional value bet to a mandatory check for showdown value? And at the other end of that showdown band, where do my bluffs begin? And then when you get into the bluff zone, you need to ask yourself, what are my standards for bluffing here? Can I bluff anything at all? Can I bluff trash? Can I only bluff if I have what I call a semi-draw? Here goes Pete again with his invented terms.
This guy just makes up terms for stuff that already exists.
Yes, sorry about that, but a semi-draw is a draw that's awful. It's like a draw to like one overcard, or some kind of very flimsy multiple backdoor thing, or maybe just like a couple of draws to second pair. A semi-draw is almost not a draw. It's somewhere between a conventional draw, like two good overcards, and trash. And a draw is like a straight draw, a gutter, two overs and a gutter, a flush draw, you know, a good pair draw, that kind of thing. So ask yourself in the bluffing nodes, can I bluff with anything I want? Is it that good a spot for my range? We talk about all of this in the Carrot Poker School, which is why it's good to have a theoretical understanding before you do the study, ideally. And if it is a good spot for my range, how good is it? Can I bet any hand at all on the turn? Can I just bluff with anything that's not got enough showdown value to check? And are these mixed bluffs or pure bluffs? Are there any bluffs I just have to find that are just better to bluff with than not? What are the properties of those? What kind of blockers should I be using in the spots where I do need to be more selective? That kind of thing. If it's an out of position node, can I check raise bluff or check raise for value instead of betting? Can I check call instead of making a thin value bet? That kind of thing. Where will I be mixing? Where will I be playing a pure strategy? And finally, what do I think might be best against pool? Now, don't worry about the exploitative side of this too much at the very start. I like my students to get a theoretical baseline to be strong and robust in why things are the case in theory and how the game operates before they start exploiting left, right, and center. But exploitative poker is very important, as you know, if you study in this channel. And I would urge you to start thinking, what do I think is best against my pool? When you're studying a node one day, you're like, okay, today is turn C bet out of position, small blind, big blind, single raise pot. I've B33 to flop. I've been called. This is the turn card. Solver says I can go for check raises with these bluffs and bets with these bluffs. You might just add, especially towards the end of that exercise when you're getting quite comfortable with it, how do I think check raising goes against pool? Look at their response, go to the next node on the tree. Ask yourself, how are they reacting compared to the solver? What's the difference there? It's like a spot the difference exercise. So that's the study bunker. That's week one. And this closes the door to doubt. And doubt, or the feeling that you are floundering and have no idea what you're doing, this is pretty much the specter that looms over you, fueling the gambler's mindset. The idea that you are lost in an arena where your pride and resources and status are at stake is a horrendous feeling, and it will paralyze you, cognitively speaking. When you've done week one, you should already feel like the game is much more within your control, that you can handle the things that you've studied much better than before, and the things you haven't studied, they'll just be in another week one the next time you repeat this cycle, so they're going to be all right as well. I've said in the article I put out this week, if you're not subscribed to Pete's Weekly, go to Carrot Corner, click the link at the bottom of the homepage, put in your email address, get on our list so you get Pete's Weekly email. It's going to help you long term. It's free. There's no reason not to. But I've said here in this article that poker is an unreliable friend and a psychopathic enemy. It's an unreliable friend because the times it pats you on the back and says, oh, you won 4 buy-ins, great job, here's a graph going upwards, look at your flat red line over that 900 hand sample, it's bullshitting you. It's fate. It's a phony friend. And when it's bad to you, it's really capricious and really randomly bad to you. It's quite horrendous. So this is why we do this kind of work, guys. This is not a game for humans, but yet we are humans and we're choosing to play it. So we better do something about that and prepare ourselves. Week 2 is called the technical grind. After week 1 is done and you've taken a couple of days off, don't do any poker stuff in your days off. I mean this sincerely, recharge fully. You have to commit to this plan. In the technical grind week, play a full week of poker, one stake lower than you normally would. Don't worry, you will be moving back up to your full stake when you've finished a few cycles, or maybe just one. But we want you to step down in stakes for 1 week when you do the technical grind phase. The reason you're going to be putting in a bunch of volume in week 2 at a lower stake is it will help take the pressure off and it will help you achieve what you're wanting to achieve, which is to play poker for the technical, strategic curiosity of the thing, and not for ego or resources. Your ego and resources are maximally attached to the highest stake that you feel comfortable playing. And so by at the start of the week just saying, I'm not caring about how this week goes. I'm not trying to make money right now. I'm not trying to prove myself to anyone right now, not even myself. And that's hard to get into a mindset where you're not even trying to prove yourself to yourself. That's almost default that we do try to do that. You're doing this solely for the sake of trying to make good decisions and practicing what it is to make good decisions. This is an exercise in mental game sturdiness, an opportunity to execute what you have studied in week 1. And the week is going to have a positive or minus score. It's going to have a graph attached to it in your PT4. Don't look at that graph during the week at all. Promise me. Don't do it. But that result at the end of the week, even if it's over, 2 or 3 times or 4 times the number of hands you're used to playing in a week, it still doesn't mean anything because it wasn't the point. The point is to get better at poker and get your mental game into a better place, and to free yourself gradually of the gambler's mindset. Therefore, during this week, the minute you start to fear, crave, or curse in frustration, you simply have to take a break. You have to. And you have to remind yourself that you're in week 2 of a 3-week plan to rid yourself of the gambler's mindset. And that's what you're doing. You are not here to make money. You're not trying to make lots of 10NL buy-ins. You guys might not be winning players. You might have a negative expectation in a game, and that's okay. For now, that has to be acceptable, right? You just need to be okay with that. So when you're playing week 2, the technical grind, you might be minus EV even at that lower stake. You might not be beating the game you're trying to beat, and you might not even be beating the lower one either, although maybe you are. But that isn't the point. It doesn't matter whether you're beating that game or not. At this stage, what matters is that you can train yourself to play a week of curious, explorative, focused, technical poker where the strategic element of the game is where the limelight is. If you succeed at this, and you put in all the volume that you want to, and you hit that goal, and you are impartial and curious and objective throughout, for the most part, okay, you might have a little blip, but it's very important you stop playing for a few minutes at least when that happens and reset. If you succeed, congratulations, you've just basically done the unthinkable. Almost nobody can do this. You've just outperformed 99% of the other regs that tried to play volume that week. Maybe not in technical level, but certainly in mental game and professionalism and being an absolute machine. It's almost like a David Goggins-esque type exercise, right? It's going to feel that way to you. If you're not used to playing just loads of volume and really focusing, you are going to be exhausted. Your willpower is going to be frayed. You're going to be worn down. You're going to have days where you know you're losing heavily. You're going to have days where you know you're winning heavily. You're going to have break-even days. The week might be up and down. It might be really swingy. It might be quite flat. It's all variance. It's all random over that sample, what shape of variance you get, whether it's flat or rocky. It doesn't matter. You're trying to condition you. Don't care about the weather. Don't care about the storm. Just think about the ship. You're the ship. If you can do that 100 to 200 more times in your life, you'll have had a really successful poker career, at least performance-wise and mental game-wise. Week 3 is called the Postmortem. In week 3, this is the hardest part, and it's where most people are going to fall off the wagon. I can guarantee you this. If you've survived week 1, you'll be in the minority of people. This is like training for like the Marines or something. It's like going through some extremely tough boot camp that you yourself are the taskmaster for. If you can survive week 2, you'll be a tiny minority again. If you can survive step 3, it's going to be amazing. You're going to be in the top few % of people that try this. Let's say this video does really well, right? Let's say that it doesn't get hit by any random things and like nothing goes wrong and the thumbnail's good and lots of you click it and it gets off to a good start and it gets 10,000 views. And let's say of those 10,000 views, 20% of you actually try this. So that's 2,000 people. I would predict that maybe 50 of them will successfully complete the full thing. That could be you. Now that I've said that, maybe that number's gone up to 100. It's still going to be a minority. So the postmortem is step 3. Now you're going to spend an entire week just reviewing your play from the technical grind week from week 2. You're going to start by creating filters for all and only the nodes you studied in week 1. So you're going to begin here. The initial phase of the postmortem is to only filter for the hands whose spots you studied in week 1. So if you didn't look at triple barreling in week 1, at the start of the postmortem, you don't review any triple barrel hands. You be fair to yourself and you look at the stuff you were supposed to be better at by now and you ask, how did I perform in the stuff that I studied? How did I execute? Where were the gaps in my knowledge that stopped me even being able to execute anything because I just didn't know? Those are the textures and situations and stacked pot ratios that you need to go and look at now. You need to refine and hone what you did in week 1 using week 2 as your material, as your relevant fodder for your technical learning. Then and only then can you move on to look at some spots you didn't identify in week 1. And here's the kicker. These spots, that river triple barrel spot, cut off big blind, whatever it was, that you didn't look at in week 1 that caused you trouble, but you bluffed off a couple of stacks, you think it might be bad, that is now one of your focus areas for the next week 1 the second time you repeat the cycle. I said to you like 50 or 100 of you I'd expect to actually complete one cycle of this. How many of them are going to do another cycle? Actually, most of them. I think most of you, because if you can do this once and you will feel the benefit, you will feel like a different poker player. Have I tried this, by the way? No. Have I got students to do elements of this? Yes. Is this the first time I've put it all together? Yeah. I want to know how it goes, guys. Let me know how it goes. support@carrotcorner.com. Tell us. Tell us in the comments. Tell us on Discord. Discord group's absolutely thriving. Tell us how it goes. We could make a subsection of the Discord for people who are going to do this pilgrimage together. But yeah, the stuff you identify in week 3, that's going to be the next week 1 stuff. Again, keep it relevant, keep it common, keep it meaningful to win rate. Don't look at river 3 betting. It's not going to matter. It might matter once and it might feel like it really matters in that moment, in those 10 seconds, but it won't matter when you zoom out due to its low frequency of occurrence. So once you've repeated this cycle a few times, the idea is that the gambler's mindset is no longer the default reaction to adversity and is no longer your default mode of operating when you play poker. You will have grown in confidence. You will feel like a completely superhuman beast compared to what you were before. You will be almost unrecognizable from that scared, disengaged, autopiloting 3-hour-long session chasing losses player. Doesn't it sound ridiculous already for that to be you? Doesn't it sound absurd that you chased losses for an extra hour last night because you were tilted? Doesn't it sound absurd that you've done that for 2 years now? It is absurd, but it's also completely the normal trajectory for a human. So this is an intervention of sorts, because without intervention, we are just in the gambler's mindset. That's what poker does to us. There are many ways that this will improve you long term, and the next question is what you do with that new improved self. I would say repeat this cycle a bunch of times. Maybe just make it all you do for a while, for 6 months or so, until you've fully ingrained the habit. Take a week off though, for sure. Don't just go 1, 2, 3, go 1, 2, 3, 4, where 4 is a week off. You know, this is an extreme plan for an extreme task. I can't stress just how difficult it is to break this mindset and free yourself from this constantly underperforming version of yourself that you've come to know as your poker self. If you can manage it, you are going to feel like you've got a superhuman edge against the pool. You really are. So before I let you embark on this and send you off to put yourself through your own boot camp, here's some advice. Talk to some friends, get involved in the Carrot Poker Discord, have people to talk to as you do this. This is not a solitary endeavor, even though you are the main and only character in your version of it. You can have other people going through the same thing, chat to them in between sessions, in between study sessions. You could even study with someone else if you've got poker friends in the study periods. With the grind phase, I'd recommend just doing it on your own. It's better for you long term. This probably is going to go wrong for you. Like, probably you won't be able to do this, but you might be one of the ones who can, and I really hope that you are. But here are the main 3 things that will go wrong. During week 1, which is to remind you the study week, you're going to want to randomly fire up tables. Why? Because studying is going to inspire you. It's going to make you want to play. But if you then start playing, you will confuse play with study, and you will send the message to yourself that it is okay not to have a completely solid, rigid game plan. And it's not, because this is supposed to be a completely watertight, rigid game plan to protect you against the natural disposition to emotion as a human in poker. That's the point. So if you do fire up tables because you feel a bit inspired, it's only 15 minutes. I've just been studying this spot. Maybe the spot will come up. Like, it'll be loads of fun. Maybe I'll win. Uh-oh, hear that? Maybe I'll win. The gambler's mindset grabbed you and caused you to fail immediately. You don't fail in this plan by losing money in the grind phase. Like, who cares what happens over that stretch of volume? You fail by succumbing to the affliction that you're trying to get away from. Don't fire up tables during the study phase. You will also want to play while emotional in week 2, because in week 2 you're going to have great sessions, good sessions, average sessions, bad sessions, and horrendous ones probably. And when you have a really bad one, you're going to feel like it's unfair. You're going to wonder if someone's out to get you. You're going to think that this is an injustice and you didn't deserve to lose again with queens, and surely queens have to win. Sometimes gamblers mindset. You need to take a break. You need to step away and remind yourself why you're here, and you should only fire up the tables again when you're recovered from that. If you have a completely disastrous day where you tilt and you play for 7 hours, you've failed. You've lost. Like, it's too late. It's over. There's no coming back from that. You're going to have to try the cycle again after a break. You need to keep your cookie intact in order to eat your cookie. You can't have it all falling apart and then still tell yourself that you're going through this plan. Like, if 3 of your 5 days have been tilted punt fests where you're barely thinking strategically and autopiloting, you're not doing the plan. You're just succumbing to the gambler's mindset for a week straight while playing poker. Let's be realistic. You don't fail by losing money. You fail by doing that, by relapsing, as it were. This is really feeling like some kind of like AA and intervention or something at this point. Man, it's taken a real course that I wasn't quite expecting. But yeah, it's got a lot in common, I guess. It's an extreme plan. Finally, in the third part, you're very likely to pack it in because it's going to feel really tedious to go through your own hands, many of which you don't like anymore. You'll be like, what was I thinking here? Why did I take that play? This doesn't feel right to me now. Oh, the solver doesn't like it. This isn't what I studied. Why would I do that? And you're going to have to say it's okay. It's all part of the process. So yeah, this is an extreme plan for an extreme task. I wonder how many of you are going to try it. Hope you let me know in the comments. I hope you come back to this video after trying this. Whether you failed or whether you've succeeded, I would love to hear from you. I'd really like to hear from you. If you want to get in touch in Discord, you know where I am there if you're part of the group. And if you want to get in touch by email, then shoot us an email to support@carrotcorner.com and tell us how it went. I can't wait to hear how many of you this is a success. I hope it's lots. Okay, so that's it. If you want to check out our content, we have that code for you. Use the code community. It's 20% off everything at Carrot Corner with that code. And I'm planning out some more extra Golden Carrot content I'm going to be making on the Discord already. We have a town hall chat coming up. It'll be too late for you guys to join that by the time this comes out, but we will have had our first Discord town hall meeting where we talk about like more improvements we can make and stuff like that. And I have a new course on the way, and I'm going to try and lose 10 pounds of weight as well. I've decided. Watch this space, watch this face, like see if I get skinnier or fatter and tell me. But I've got a few plans in place for that I'll tell you guys about more on another email or video, whatever. Don't forget to subscribe to Pete's Weekly. Join our newsletter, it's free. Click the thing at the bottom of Carrot Corner. Get that every Thursday when I remember to do it. I don't always. I'm going to try and be better. And yeah, let me know how this goes. I hope this is what you were looking for in the Gambler's Mindset. If there are more of these mental game leaks you want me to cover as well, let me know in the comments. Hit the like button if you liked it. Share it with a friend if you liked it. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.